Today I'm going to be talking about the best lenses you can own for the Sony FX6 and the Sony FX3 for filmmaking. I have filmed so many different projects this year with so many different lenses. However, these are the ones that I narrowed down to invest in because I know they will actually give me a return on my investment, and they're just the most versatile in my kit. I have filmed commercials, music videos, documentaries, destination weddings, and across the board I feel like these lenses could have fit perfectly in any of those projects in my kit. The first lens I want to talk about is the new 24-70 G Master II, and if there was one lens I would recommend to anyone watching this video and you still want to be able to make six figures in your filmmaking business, then this is the lens I would recommend every single time. It's so small and lightweight. What Sony did to revamp the old 24-70 is absolutely mind-blowing. They were able to shrink the size of it, make it more compact. When you're hand holding an FX3 or FX6 and you just have a small compact rig, your rig isn't so front heavy that it's just unbalanced and it's kind of causing a lot of strain on your wrist. You can easily hand hold it and have no issues if you're not using an easy rig or a stabilizer. And it's also just much more improved with the focus ring that it has now. It's so much smoother. You can control it with the button right here, whether you want to make it tighter depending on the shot that you're capturing. The handy dandy aperture ring that is now included on this lens is so much appreciated, just because if you're filmmaking you can declick it, and that is great because you don't want to be causing noises when you're filming on a narrative or commercial project. This lens truly does feel like a prime in your hand. It's almost the size of my 24mm f1.4 G Master, and it hasn't left my kit at all ever since I picked it up this summer. It's always been in my bag. I know a lot of people are maybe more budget constrained and they're going to pick up the Tamron or the Sigma. In my opinion, I'd rather have a native E-mount glass because, one, of the resale value in the future. I can get almost exactly what I paid for, whether I've had it for a year or 2 years. It's going to be obviously much easier to get this fixed because I can send it to Sony. And lastly, the native glass is just always going to perform better on your FX3 or FX6 if you have Sony native glass on those cameras. The autofocus is absolutely amazing. And now that the FX6 has focus breathing compensation, which I have no idea why Sony doesn't have it on the FX3, you can almost make this look like you're rack focusing and you have an AC on set focusing for you. So if you're running and gunning, you want to really get the most versatile focal lengths, and you just have one lens you can pick in your bag, 24-70 GM2. The next lens I want to talk about is the new and improved 7200 G Master OSS II by Sony. This lens is absolutely my favorite lens that I've purchased this year. The autofocus on this lens paired with the FX3 or the FX6 is second to none. I think it is definitely hands down the best autofocus in any of the G Master lenses currently. And also, it's just the fact that now it's about a pound lighter from the original, so you can actually hand hold the FX3 with this lens and get pretty stable footage just by using the active steady shot or the regular steady stabilization on the FX3 and the non-stabilization on the FX6. This lens just kind of kills it in every single regard. The quality of the image is absolutely beautiful. The bokeh is just more pronounced at this point with the improved optics, and the fact that the zoom is internal. So if you're using this on a gimbal, which you can obviously balance it now on the heavier, bigger gimbals, you won't have any problem when you decide to zoom in or out because it's all internal. So if you're highly considering getting a telephoto lens and you're looking at the Tamron or you're looking at other brands, I think just wait, save up the money, and go with this lens because you will be absolutely mind blown every single time you decide to use this lens. And it just makes me so much money because I'm able to rent it out on ShareGrid. It's easily my #1 rented item right now, so that gives me passive income. So on that end of regards, you just won't be able to make a financial mistake if you rent this lens. All right, so let's round out my whole trinity of G Master lenses. This is the handy dandy 24mm G Master f1.4, arguably my favorite lens in my kit besides the Sony 7200 GM OSS II, and that is just because I think it's just such a unique look that you can grab with this lens. Having a wide angle with an f-stop of 1.4 just produces something that is just very environmental. You're able to get much more of the environment. I think it just has amazing optics. It's so small and lightweight, so it's really easy to fly on a gimbal with the FX3 or even the FX6. I always have this lens in my kit just because I know how versatile it is if I need to get a wide angle shot, but I still am maybe filming in a place where it's darkly lit and I need better low light performance. Pop this bad boy out. As you can see, this is the only G Master Prime that I own, and that's for a good reason. I think it just rounds out my kit really nicely when we're talking about the G Master lenses. All right, so now we're talking about two lenses in my kit that I just recently picked up a few weeks ago. I'm absolutely loving the images that they're producing, and I think they're just two lenses that pair very nicely, and you don't have to go out and, I think, in my opinion, buy the entire kit. I highly recommend renting them and testing them before you buy them to make sure they're going to work in your workflow. But so far with the FX3 and the FX6, I have loved everything that I've been capturing with these two lenses. This is the Sirui 35mm t2.9 full frame 1.6 anamorphic lens, and this is the Sirui 100mm t2.9 1.6 anamorphic lens. These two just complement each other so well, and they round out the two lenses that I would need for coverage if I'm doing a mini doc or if I'm doing any type of project, in my opinion, because on this spectrum I have something that's very wide. When you pair it on a full frame sensor like the FX3 and the FX6, you have to really use your foreground to get really some great composition because it's so wide. I believe it's like a 22mm on the horizontal end, and you're getting a 35mm on the vertical end. And it's just amazing that we have something this small and compact, and it's anamorphic, and it's not $10,000 per lens. So I feel like if you really want to get the kit or start investing in anamorphic lenses, the new ones that have been coming out like Greyjoy, Iowa, and now Sirui, I would go with these. I've tested the other ones, and these just kind of produce the best images in my opinion for the price. And this lens right here is absolutely amazing. Every image that I grab from it is breathtaking. I believe it's about 77mm wide on the horizontal plane, and then you get obviously the 100mm vertically. But the compression is amazing, and just how it's able to compress an image, given that you have that anamorphic look, is absolutely stunning. I've already rented them out a couple times, and everyone has loved them. So on that end, again, I'm making money passively just by having them on ShareGrid. This lens right here is a lens I would recommend to every single person watching this video. Yes, every single one of you. And that is because it comes down to the fact that it's a $50 lens. This is the Helios 44-2 58mm lens. It's absolutely legendary. You can find a plethora of these on eBay, and it was even used on the Batman this year, so that should tell you what quality of an image this lens produces. It's very light and compact, produces such beautiful images with the bokeh that it has. That's very unique, very anamorphic-esque. It has such a vintage look. It's very soft when you stop it down all the way to f2. And quite simply, it's the fact that it's so versatile. You can really pair this with much higher expensive vintage lenses like the Cooks or Leica R's, and it's just going to pair very nicely. So depending on the set that you're working on, whether they have a kit rented, you could just pop this out. Helios is just legendary. You should absolutely have it. It weighs nothing. You can pop it in a camera bag very easily and forget about it, and when you come out to your set, boom, you have such an amazing lens in your arsenal for less than $100. As you can see, my collection of lenses is very intentional. I don't have every single prime that Sony has ever released. I don't have every single zoom that third-party manufacturers are making. I have a very small set, and that's because every single lens is intentional. They are very versatile. I can use them on so many different type of projects, whether I can only maybe fit one lens in my kit, or if a production agency is asking for now maybe anamorphics, or they want a small compact prime because I'm using it on gimbal. I think you should invest in lenses that are going to make you money. You're going to be able to use them on so many different type of projects, and of course that you're really happy with the images you're capturing. So I hope this video was very helpful for you in deciding what lenses maybe you should invest in, lenses that will make you money. Again, I have all these listed on my ShareGrid. They're all fairly being rented all the time. This is my #1 most rented lens currently. Makes me the most money passively. I look forward to building my collection very slowly at this point because I have everything I kind of need. So now I want to invest maybe more to, you know, vintage contact Zeiss lenses, or maybe some Leica R's. We'll see. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.